This year's theme for most of the retreats that we offer here at Mount St. Francis is All is Made New. Now, we might think to ourselves, if I go to Mount St. Francis, my knee pain will go away, my twisted hip will straighten itself out, and I won't have any more emotional pain. In other words, my suffering will vanish and go away. Well, not. Or we might think to ourselves, this habitual sin that I keep committing, all will be made new and I'll stop doing that. Not. Really what we are doing at Mount St. Francis, we are encouraging people to take life from the perspective of Christ and seeing how Christ makes things new. Christ turned a Roman execution meant for slaves who committed crimes into an expression of God's love. And certainly Christ can encourage us to see things from this perspective and to see things in a new way. And so it's not so much that our body aches will go away or maybe our emotional suffering will go away, but we will see life from a different perspective, from the perspective of Christ, and be encouraged by Christ as well. In the first reading from the prophet Malachi, the priests need a little bit of a renewal. They need to see all things made new because they are becoming careless in their ministry, and they're allowing people to offer sick animals for sacrifice. Now, the law encouraged the people to offer the best of the best when they were offering their animal sacrifice. And it was to do two things. It was to help them to trust that God would truly provide for them or continue to provide for them, but it was also a way to give thanks to God for what they had received. And so they have lost their trust in God. And one of the things, if we constantly keep our communion with God, we will see things from God's perspective. And we will allow ourselves to have our hearts constantly made new. We have to continuously be dying to certain things, letting certain things go so that the Spirit can raise us to new life. And what a blessing that is. But, we can also be encouraged by this first reading that we are priests by our baptism. And so we are to offer, our best time of the day when we're offering our prayers, or we're taking time for prayer, and that we are to see that the most important thing is that we continually come back to God, knowing that prayer encourages our relationship with God. Now, in the gospel reading, Jesus is really letting the Pharisees have it. He's not holding anything back. Now, he's challenging them on a few things. The first thing is that they are not to expect places of honor or seats of honor. They're also not to expect titles of honor. Titles in themselves are okay, but if I expect people to call me, Mr. Gurnick all the time, or Dr. Gurnick, even though I'm not a doctor of any sort, then that has to be let go of. But if people want to use a title, Jesus has no problem with titles, as long as we don't expect people to honor us in that way. And the other thing is not to exalt ourselves, because the acceptance from others, the appreciation of others can become quite addictive. And so Jesus is challenging not just the leaders, but even ourselves, and the other challenge that Jesus lays out is the leaders are being hypocrites. In other words, they're saying certain things, but they're not living according to them. It's very easy. I can make 10 of these videos, and it's not necessarily easy, but it's a lot easier to record 10 of these videos than it is to live one of them out. And so we realize that we're all hypocrites. But Jesus came to make all things new. In other words, something that we are incapable of overcoming ourselves, Jesus takes care of that. Take heart, I have conquered the world. Take heart, I have conquered all of your sin. Take heart, I have conquered all of your weaknesses. Take heart that, as Romans 8:18 says, that the sufferings of this present time are nothing compared to the glory about to be revealed to us. Now, in contrast, Paul is a great leader. He shows love and care towards the Thessalonian community. But he also doesn't want to be a burden to them, so he works to provide for himself so that the people don't have to provide for him, but he's still taking time to proclaim the good news. And so, even in our day, may we always take time to proclaim the good news and the good deeds of the Lord. And so as we gather around the table, Lord, once again, Christ comes to nourish us within, to make us new within, so we see things from the perspective of Christ, and that we can be encouraged and continue to encourage others as we serve them with loving care.